Thank you, Miriam. So next up we have Sister Maha Gulp. Not very good with names. Gulp? Sister Maha Gulp.
Peace be upon you people. My name is Maha Gulp, and the Prophet did a good job, an amazing job. That's the best you can do. I'm standing in front of you here as a Palestinian, Canadian, and as a woman. I stand here because I was denied to live in my own country. Because the Europeans and the English decided that to rid their conscience of guilt, they're going to give my land to the people of Israel. They didn't consult me. My father had to leave his land. I was told that my grandfather had fields and fields of orange trees. I never saw any of them. And when my father returned to Palestine 30-some years ago, or 30-some years later, those fields were gone. The only thing that was left of his city was a well. Donald Trump claims that he is doing a step towards peace. It's an overdue step, and I quote, "This is an overdue step towards peace between Palestinians and Israelis." I don't understand where he's coming from. According to the international law, as Miriam stated, Jerusalem doesn't belong to anybody. It's not the capital of Israel, it's not the capital of Palestine, but it's definitely not the capital of Israel. Jerusalem, the city of peace, Al-Quds, the holy city, is the most important city in the world to Jews, Christians, and Muslims. Who is Donald Trump, a know-nothing president, to come and say it belongs to the Jews alone? And the funny thing is, Orthodox Jews do not recognize the state of Israel. Actually, Orthodox Jews who lived in Palestine decades before Donald Trump existed, decades before the state of Israel existed, lived side by side with Muslims and with Christians, and they were all Palestinians. So who are you to come and say that you need a state of Israel to recognize the Jews who lived in Palestine? They were not oppressed, their rights were not taken, they prayed in their holy sites, so did the Christians, so did the Muslims, and everybody came from everywhere to pray. They were never denied to enter. However, a few months ago, I stood right there rallying for Al-Aqsa Mosque because the state of Israel decided that Muslims are not allowed to pray there anymore. So if Donald Trump decides that the state of Israel is peaceful enough and democratic enough, did he forget what they did a few months ago? Did they forget the killing that they did? And for what? Safety measures? To not allow Muslims to go into the Mosque of Al-Aqsa, the third holiest sites for Muslims, and yet a few months later he says, you know what, you can take charge of Jerusalem. I want to know how much longer before Christians are not allowed to pray there, and how much longer before Muslims are not allowed to go in there anymore. I'd love to see that. Truly shame, truly shame. Donald Trump is endorsing an illegal occupation of a land. He's endorsing the prosecution of people by him saying that Jerusalem is the capital of a country or a state that does not respect human rights, that has the highest number of children prisoners in their prisons. He's saying that the United States, in its stand for freedom, the leader of the free world, does not understand the concept of freedom and human rights. To give Jerusalem to the Israelis is giving them to the people who have killed the people of Palestine. They actually took away their citizenship. The people of Jerusalem have lost their citizenship. Their shops were taken away from them. Their homes were taken away from them. This is the people of Jerusalem. I'm not talking about Palestinians. Let's just forget that Jerusalem is part of Palestine. Let's pretend that Jerusalem is floating somewhere in the world. persecuted. They've been oppressed. They've been kicked out of their homes. They've been killed. The Jewish people of Jerusalem, the original Jewish people of Jerusalem, are being persecuted by the state of Israel. So based on what do we say that Jerusalem is safe in the hands of Israel? I want to say something, because this is all glim and it's all sad, but there is some hope. A few days ago, a friend of mine called me and said, congratulations, Jerusalem has become the state of Israel. And I said to him, what? And he said to me, that's a good thing, Maha. And I said, how, Mahmoud? And I said to him, how is that? Okay, so I said to him, oh wow, I'm even louder. So I said to him, why do you think it's a good thing? He said to me, because now we will know who is really a true ally of justice and peace and who's not. And guess what? It's so disappointing. It just turns out that there's not many people who are true allies of justice and peace. They whisper about it, they smile about it, they're politically correct about it, but when it gets to it, they're not. And shamefully, our president, Mr. Justin Trudeau, who we all love so much, was a disappointment to me. Yes, he said, we will not move our embassy into Jerusalem. Good for him. But he didn't stand and say, Donald Trump violated Palestinians' rights by accepting Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. He didn't. So it is our duty, it is our duty as Canadians standing here right now to go home, contact BDS, ask them for a template of a letter, and email Mr. Trudeau and his cabinet and say, if you are going to stand against justice, do it clearly. Do not do it in a hidden way. Do not be a politically correct person. Because Donald Trump wasn't politically correct. He said what his cabinet wanted him to say. He did what the evangelical Christians in America told him to do. Give Jerusalem to Israel. So please stand up clear. I call upon every president in the world. I call upon the Arab presidents and the Muslim or so-called Muslim presidents, before I call upon anybody else, to speak up. Enough cowardness. However, as Amani said, I salute the people of the Middle East. I salute the people of the world. Jordan, wounded Syria, they stood up despite everything they're going through. They stood up for Palestinians. Turkey, Indonesia, Pakistan, Malaysia, Somalia. How is it that those people stood up for us? And yet our neighbors, Jordan did too, yet our neighbors, and Lebanon, I know there's a lot of Lebanese here, Lebanon stood for Palestinians. How is it that Saudi Arabia didn't? How is it that Kuwait didn't? And Egypt did? How is it that our own leaders of the Muslim world didn't? So please, let's call upon them, let's call them out on it. You need to make a stand. Germany made a stand. They said we do not recognize the state of Israel. We have France left. We have England left. We have to call upon the world to make a stand. Because it's not about Palestinians. It's a humanity thing. First they do it to Palestine. They did it to Yemen. They did it to Iraq and Afghanistan. Stay silent and the next country is yours. Thank you.